Hey folks, we're going to continue our work with the Spelljammer combat tokens for ships, both fightercraft and larger vessels. Give me a second here to kick through my spiel, and then we'll dive into 100 some odd minutes worth of art and fun. So hold on, checking the signal here. Worth of art and fun. It sounds like the signal is loud and clear, so I'm going to give me a second here to fire up my signal across the net to let people know I'm live, and I will go through my spiel here, my intro, and then we'll get to work. So hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing game supplement PDFs. I publish them online. My attention currently is focused on 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. I publish content on the DMsGuild. There is a number of links in the description down below to other works that I've already produced. They're all 100% free preview. So you can go in and take a look at any of the stuff that I have linked down below or any of the work that I've published, and be welcome to explore that space. There's probably about 150 illustrations amongst the different books that I have linked down below. If you're on a desktop or a tablet, you can click on one of the book images, and it will take you to the page. If you're on a desktop, it'll be a full preview. It'll say full preview underneath the book cover, and if you're on a mobile phone, on the right hand side, it'll have an eye icon. So you click on the eye or the full preview link. Either way, it'll open up a PDF of the entire book. If you're an art enthusiast, be welcome to check out some of the artwork that I produce. If you're a D&D enthusiast, then be welcome to check out all the mechanics. We're on a campaign with them. If you like any of them, consider purchasing. Other way we can support the channel is I just posted I'm live on Twitter, so if you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at Phil Kearney, like my name down below. Liking, subscribing, and clicking the bell icon on YouTube helps let them know that the algorithms are good, and that should be the end of my spiel. So we are working on ship tokens today. Hey, Dreams, it's good to see you, my dude. Give me a second here to get my screen arranged proper like, and we just started, so we're going to continue work on combat tokens. So let me get myself arranged here, get all comfortable. I've got a 20-minute timer here. I'm going to start the clock. Every 20 minutes it'll ping to help make sure I don't tunnel vision into a space that's just wasting time, to help make sure I keep my head in the game proper, right? I've got my Frappuccino Mocha today, sitting on a hot plate. Caffeine. An ice water chaser to keep my system from dehydrating too much. Let's see. How does this all look? Yeah, it all looks perfect. Okay, cool. So let's see. Here's the book cover that we created. Check out episode 15 or so to see how I created that. Here are the fighter craft that we have. Each square here is 5 feet. This larger square is 50 feet. Here are vessels, which are larger ships. Each square here is 50 feet. This would be a 5x5, a 250-foot space. Hey, what's the text we got going on over here, Dream? Here for about 30 minutes. Okay, right on, dude. Before developing SKT game, right on. We almost completed with the campaign. Fantastic, man. I'm looking forward to seeing more of what you got going on. Let's see. Okay, great. So the endeavor that we are pursuing here is, and we worked on the hammer ship last week. Working on a couple of ships, but here it is, hammer ship. Right, so we redeveloped the hammer ship. So the way that, here, let's dive into the actual document here real quick. We've been making progress on it in the week that we were away from here till now, and this is kind of our dev update on where the product is coming along. So we're up to page 57 out of 104. The actual document itself goes to page 84 worth of mechanics, and then from 85 to 104 is Light as a Ratchet's conversion guide specifically. What we were able to complete this week was the layouts and construction of the spellcasting section that amplifies spells. If you're using a helm, an orrery station, or an arcane cannon. Those are the 3 types of magical equipment on a ship that are classified as amplifiers. Amplifiers, while you're focusing on them, focusing is a very casual form of concentration that requires you to remain on or within 5 feet of the object that you're using to focus on it. You can focus and concentrate at the same time. All the mechanics of this are at the front end of the book, which we'll look at when we get into the art. But once a spell is amplified, you can increase the size, the scale of the spell, but not necessarily the damage. So we laid out the mechanics of how spell casting works in general. I won't bore you with the details right now. We'll do that with the walkthrough later on. Once the book is published, I'll do a page-by-page walkthrough of this. But we have the area of effects that are targeted, targeting siege crew on board your ship, single target effects like targeting ships. How is duration modified? How is damage modified with weapon attacks? All the notable spells in here, and then we left, so there's scaling with 1 slot and 2 slots. 1 slot can scale up to the 50-foot scale instead of 5-foot scale, and if you expend an additional 2 slots, it can escalate, it can expand to the 500-foot square instead of the 5-foot square. So a 30-foot radius becomes a 300-foot radius, or with 2 slots becomes a 3,000-foot radius. And areas affect cones and stuff like that are affected accordingly. But the damage doesn't really escalate. It can just affect a larger area. If it's like a fireball that fills a 3,000-foot area, it doesn't do 8d6 times 100 damage. It still just does 8d6 times. It just still does 8d6 damage, but it can affect more things within that area. So if you have an amplifier on an active ship, you can increase the size of spells to be able to keep that 5-foot battlefield feeling at the 50 and 500-foot combat scale on ships, and spells continue to work the way that you expect them to. But the damage doesn't become so ridiculous that it's like one guy with a fireball can destroy all of Waterdeep. Like, you already have problems enough with ships that can move 10,000 miles per round as it is. You don't need to escalate that problem by multiplying damage dice unreasonably. But once you finish Spelljammer, I will... Right on, dude. Glad to hear it. That would be awesome, and I would be happy to provide any guidance if it isn't obvious. But obviously, I mean, hopefully the book is self-sufficient. But anyone, anytime, if anyone has any questions, they're always welcome to reach out to me. But so the layouts here on the pages, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages, seven pages that we layered through until we get to the exploration chapter, and that will be resolving exploration this week and be able to update it next week. But the point of all of this was, A, we're really making progress. But B, I was going to talk about squadrons briefly, because when you're commanding more than one ship, see, what you can do is on a ship, you can, as a character, each of these weapons have crew. Either, if there's crew, if you have siege crew that are operating the weapon, as a commander, you can issue commands to that crew to make attacks, reload, as part of your normal action economy, either like as your attack actions to issue attacks, or like as a bonus action, or like reload as an alternate attack, or as a reaction, you can reload the weapon to continue firing multiple times per round, which is detailed in the ship rules section that we looked at up above a couple weeks ago. But squadrons and fleets are when you're controlling multiple ships. So aboard a ship here, you've got a siege crew that operates a siege weapon. A ship crew operates an entire ship. A siege commander can issue commands to a siege weapon to make attacks, but you could also issue commands to 1, 2, 3. You can issue orders to multiple weapons to fire all weapons at once, but it increases the likelihood, it lessens the amount of attacks you can make per round with those multiple weapons. So you can have like a big burst up front, but then you have to spend all this time getting all the weapons reloaded, and the whole party can help with getting all the ship weapons reloaded to line up another full volley attack again. So you can fire multiple weapons at a slower rate than you could command an individual weapon to fire. Like, you could have 3 characters, one's firing this weapon, one's firing this weapon, one's firing this weapon, and basically use your normal action economy per round to make attacks with those using the crew. Or you could have one character that's issuing 1, 2, 3, or 4, or even 5 weapons attack all at the same time. And then other characters on the team can be using their action economy to help those crews reload the weapon quicker so that that character can line up another volley of shots next round. Same thing with a ship. If you expand out to a squadron where you have multiple ships inside of an area, that you're basically commanding all of those ships to fire and attack together. You can have them move together as though they were one ship, and you can have them all attack together as though they were multiple ship weapons being fired. And the way that the damage scales in these squadrons is the number of squares is the number of dice that you roll to deal damage. Like when we come up here, if we look at, like, say, a ballista, let's go up into the siege weapons here real quick. Ranged siege weapons. Here we go. A ballista does D4 times 10 piercing damage, right? And it's a siege weapon, so it has that times 10 multiplier. So it's going to do D4 times 10 damage, anywhere from 10 to 40 points of damage when it hits. If you are firing 2 ballista, then it would be both attacks fired together, and it would be 1d4 and 1d4. It'd be 2d4 times 10 damage. If instead you have a squadron, flipping through movement mechanics and squadron crew rank. There we go. The crew rank determines, you can have a crew level of experience of the crew is going to be anywhere from inexperienced at a crew rank 1 to master veterans at rank 5. This is the damage that they do instead. So if you have a crew of ships that are firing, instead of this ballista doing a D4, the entire ship is going to squadron, crew, towing, attacks equal looking for it. A squadron of vessels with siege-mounted weapons that hits with an attack and roll a number of damage dice equal to the number of spaces the ship contributes to the attack, occupy at the 500-foot square. So this is a 250. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 square ship. So that means it's going to contribute 5 dice. Since the crew, like say the crew is, say, 2nd rank, then they're going to be doing D6. So this would be 5d6, and since it's a vessel siege level weapon, it's going to do 5d6 times 10 damage. And that would basically be your ship's volley for the round. So it does a lot of damage. The pilot can, we talk about soaking damage and how to mitigate damage to ships. But that's basically because the length of the ship determines how many dice are thrown when you deal siege damage. That means that each ship needs to have a number of weapons equal to the length of the ship to make the narrative of how the ship looks match with the mechanics of the mechanics of how squadrons work. So yeah. So we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 siege weapons, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mounted weapons, which are smaller scale weapons. Siege weapons can hit really large things like 50 feet or larger without any kind of difficulty at all. Mounted weapons are like harpoon flingers from Descent into Avernus. Like a harpoon flinger does 2d8 damage and has a 150-foot reach. So if you're going to have fighter craft that are running around, like this Spiderling has two mounted harpoon flingers, and it has a ballista on it, and it has piercing rams. So it's got multiple melee weapons as well as ranged weapons. The mounted weapon, the siege weapon, is a significant threat against larger vessels that have hundreds of hit points. These craft only have, say, tens or dozens of hit points. So a siege weapon is really dangerous to small craft like this, but it's also easy for the pilot to mitigate the damage. A pilot treats a ship as though it was temporary hit points. It's like a damage resistance armor that the pilot wears as a weapon system. So if the pilot once, if the ship gets hit, the pilot could either let the ship take the damage, or the pilot could take the hit points themselves directly. If it's mounted weapon damage, like 2d8 damage, there's nothing you can do. You can either take as much of the damage as you want, or let the ship take it. If it's a siege weapon that does a ×10 multiplier, if you let it hit the ship, it does like, say, 10 to 40 points of damage in increments of 10. But if the pilot takes the damage, you remove the ×10 multiplier, and it would only be, a ballista hit would only be d4 damage. That makes individual hits from siege weapons not very significant to like a 5th, 6th, 7th level character. But if this spiderling only has 80 hit points, so a ballista hit to this ship is really dangerous for your ship. If your ship drops to 0 hit points, you don't have a ship anymore, and it's just you floating amongst wreckage. So you're going to want to take damage as a pilot so that the ship remains intact. Or if you're a really low character and you can't afford to lose that many hit points at the helm, you'll let your ship get wrecked. So from like level 1 to 7, it's mostly your ship that's taking the damage. But like around level 5 to 7-ish, it's kind of a wash between whether you want the ship to take the damage or you want to take the damage because of your ability to heal yourself with your team with healing, or just a hit point battery that you have to wear down. But by like around level 7 plus, it's going to be advantageous for the character, the pilot, to always be taking the damage, because your crew is probably going to have enough healing resources that you can refresh your character. But the point is that you're still burning through characters' resources during combat encounters like you normally would in a normal combat at, say, in a dungeon. If you're burning off your hit point pools because you're being assaulted by 4 or 5 of these little spiderlings that are flinging ballista bolts at your hammerhead ship each round, that's like 5d4 damage that your pilot is going to take, or your hammerhead ship is going to take, anywhere from up to 5d4 times 10 damage. And these things only have 500 hit points. So like if you get caught in a cloud of little fighter craft that are dumping, anywhere from 20, 30 points of damage per hit on your ship can only take about 20 hits before it's destroyed, which calibrates pretty closely to what a 5th level character would have if they were fighting, like, say, a 2nd or 3 CR, like an ogre with some orc allies, or like a band of goblins and a giant spider. You'd be able to take around 20 some odd hits as a 5th level fighter before you're at risk of really being killed. So the action economy, the damage scaling, and the hit point pools of your characters actually scales very closely to what you would expect in a dungeon. The only difference is that the whole team is operating as though this ship is yourself, right? So you can have multiple characters on different amplifying, maintaining concentration for multiple spells that can affect the same ship. Like you could have like a paladin, a pilot that's using Divine Smite as part of their siege weapon attacks. You could have a support character on an orrery that is using it to, say, maintain Zephyr Strike, so that your ship is getting increased speed and dealing extra damage when the pilot wants it. And you could have a character on an arcane cannon that's popping off cantrip siege shots every round, but could also use that arcane cannon as an amplifier to cast haste on the ship, so that the pilot is benefiting from haste. The ship is able to maneuver better. The pilot has more action economy. So as a team of spellcasters using different equipment stations on the ship, you could have a smite spell going. You could have 2 or 3, possibly 4 different buffs that are all running together. But if your ship gets hit and you get scuttled and the pilot fails the concentration check, everybody on board ship gets thrown around, takes damage, and has to make sure that they're able to maintain their focus. Otherwise, they lose concentration and all the spells fizzle out and they get dropped. So you can use the ship as a proxy pseudo character that the whole team works to make operate better while you're fighting, goblin arrows or ogre mammoths or Elithid nautiloid. Anyway, that's the spiel, and we'll walk through it page by page later on, but I'm just kind of crash course this crap just to take a look at it, because we already fixed the bombard. We already upgraded the damselfly to have, it's a 2x2 craft, so it's got 2 siege weapons and it has 2 mounted weapons. I need to make new icons for those. That'll be, we'll get to that. Let's see, we're on the Flying Fish. It's a 3x3 craft, so you can see it's got 1, 2, 3 siege weapons and 1, 2, 3 mounted weapons. We just looked at the Hammerhead ship, which is 5 and 5. We worked on the Lamprey last week as well, which is a 3x3 vessel. I mean, it looks tiny, right? But in all reality, hold on, let's get rid of this. Like if I were to do this, see, it's technically bigger than the 2x2 space, so it rounds up, and it rounds up to a 3x3. So that means it has 1, 2, 3 weapons, siege weapons, and 1, 2, 3 mounted weapons. It also has this piercing ram that it can use to hit and then stick to a ship with a grapple. And then it's easy for crew just to go off deck down the nose of this onto whatever enemy ship it's impaled. So that would allow you to then drop from these 50-foot scale down to the 5-foot scale and have normal, 5-foot scale combat on the decks of these ships back and forth. So that's kind of the spiel there. So let's lock this one back up. We're currently on the living ship. The living ship is, as you can see, it fits inside of a 2x2 space. Thank you. It's really intuitive. The problem with these new mechanics is that I have to completely rewrite the combat, spellcasting, and adventuring chapters of the Player's Handbook and DMG kind of combined to be able to take into account all the things that go along with movement and combat at the 5-foot scale. How is that reflected at a larger scale when everybody aboard the ship is being considered the same self? So it's really fucking cool. But the mechanics work. We've ran multiple playtests with this at different levels. And every time it all basically hemmed out the same. So whether we're using craft, fighter craft in Descent into Avernus to fight a Hellspawn swarm, or to fight frost giant spirits, or to have we had a scorpion ship that was fighting Zariel's flying blade. We were also using fighter craft in Elturel to defend against a siege of demons and devils. That worked out beautifully. And Spelljammer itself, we did the Neogi chase through the asteroid field aboard a 500-foot scale galleon versus a Night Spider and a small cloud, a squadron of Spiderling ships. This looks, I'm geeking out a little bit, so forgive me. But here's the Night Spider that we'll be working on a little bit. But this is the mothership, right? And then these Spiderlings, as you can see, they're only 40 feet. They're only 40-foot ships because these are 5-foot squares. This is 100-foot. This is a 5, 10, 50-foot space. So these are 40-foot ships, little fighter craft, and each one of these things can fit inside of one of these squares. So you can have each one of these each one of these little Spiderling craft. It's 50 feet, right? So you look at this. You got a 50-foot square here. You could have 1, 2, 3, 4. You could have 4 of these little Spiderlings clipped onto, holding on to the bottom of this ship, like we talked about before about carriers. You can have 4 of these little Spiderlings clipped to the bottom of this larger craft, and they can deploy as a squadron that basically has a whole, a bunch of them attacking you all at the same time, and each one of them has a siege weapon. So a little cloud, like 1, 2, 3, 4 of these fit inside of a 2x2 space. Like all 4 of those ships could fit inside this little space here. And it would be 4 ballista weapons with a first-rank crew. It would be 44 times 10 damage. While this is doing D4 times 10, 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 this is doing D4 times 10. So between this Night Spider and the 4 Spiderlings, all of them, if they all hit, they can do 94 times 10 damage to a ship, which is potentially up to, 45 damage if the pilot takes all the damage for the ship. If you're a 5th level character, and at this level you are a 5th level character, if you've got the fighter at the helm, he's going to have maybe 45 hit points. So if he takes a full perfect barrage from this entire swarm of ships, he's almost dead. So you have to have you have to have your fighter. He's basically tanking for the team as a fighter because he's at the pilot helm. He's using the melee weapon attacks to make attacks at ships, while other characters aboard are using the siege weapons to make ranged attacks as well, or dump their action economy into buffing the pilot to either keep him alive or to give him bonuses, move bonuses, attack bonuses, or damage bonuses. So, and at 5th level, the fighter has 2 attacks, so you can hit with 2. Whatever weapon system the fighter or any martial character is on has 2 attacks per round, plus their bonus action and their reaction to be able to help mitigate damage, reload weapons, or lessen the impact of hits that you do let through your shields to get to the ship. So that's a 5th level encounter, or 6th level depending on how you play it. But that was a really fucking fun encounter. And then there's the entire squadron fleet at level 9 to fight the Citadel of Light and the Squadron of Starships, Star Moths. That worked perfectly. We ran through that twice in 2 different scenarios. It was like fighting a horde of orcs, basically. It was fucking great. Anyway, I'm geeking out enough, I think. But I love these layouts. I get to put in 1, 2, 3. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can actually lessen the amount of weapons on this, and I have to add in a bunch of mounted weapons as well. So that'll be fun. I think we're going to finally get on track and work on the living ship. So let us do that. After I finish this living ship, I'm going to start building diversified weapon tokens. I'm going to build a catapult token, trebuchet token, ballista token, and the mounted weapon token. 4 tokens. 4 weapon system tokens. So, and I know that you got a belt here soon. So, but I appreciate you sticking around, Dreams. It's fun to have folks around. I appreciate you. Sails, turrets. 1, 2. It's a 2 square system, so duplicate the layer. Can I make that work? Science point to no, but maybe. Oof. You know, just enough is enough. Man, we'll do that. There's barely touching. That's good enough. 1, 2 off the back, and then we want duplicate the group. Let's take this up to, oh, where's a good place to put these things? Yeah, that feels right. Oh no, this is the right place. I could. I could line them up like this. Oh, wait a second. The Trent acts as a trebuchet. I only need one of these. That's right. Because the Trent itself that's on the ship, this here is a this thing here is a tree. So it's a Trent, and Trents act as siege weapons. So that's technically like that. But that blocks how pretty the tree is. Blurf. So that is accurate. I could do like that, and I kind of like the mounted weapons at the front end of the ship, though. It's nice to be able to bounce back and forth. Like if I had the mounted weapons here, then the crew could be able to switch between the ballista and the mounted weapons. Thanks, man. I could back this off here a bit. Yeah, I like how that sits. Thank you. That's online. And honestly, I think that makes the most sense. It's just kind of like this whole back area is just kind of a weapons deck in general, and the tree is there. The tree could technically act as a commander for both of these teams, as well as being able to throw weapons itself. So these ships are actually pretty fucking rough and tumble. I like that layout. I think that feels good. I'm going to keep that. All right. So the next thing that we need to do is let's go into here. Spiderling. Weapon systems. I'm going to duplicate this layer in the vessels. There we go. Vessels. We can now take the living ship, color, turrets. There it is, there and there. We're going to call this Lista. And we can duplicate this group and then take it down to here onto the living ship. Let's first free transform and go 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do like this. And then free transform. Oh, it's too small. It's 50 feet here. It's going to be a 10 by 10. So that's 20%. Thank you. Let's free transform. Okay, that all syncs. So let's do it like this. Shifting my seat. Let's maybe we can maybe I can be more clever about this. Convert it to a smart object, and then free transform. Free transform. Now that's a smart object, it should be vectoring. There we go. I'm using a fade, a low opacity, 40% opacity here, so I can smooth out some of that chunkiness, the pixely. So now it looks pretty decent, pretty decent. Tree. Game time, right on, my dude. So close to the end of this campaign, though. It's going to end in a super cool. Right on, my guy. Hey, man, you have a great time. Thanks for swinging by. I'll see you on the other side. Be welcome to catch up with the stream later on if you want. I'll be here for at least another. Well, I mean, you're playing D&D. You'll be gone for the day. I will be here for another hour. this and this, and then let's go with this, and then transform, boom, boom. I think that's sitting okay. How do I want to do that? Mounted. Let's see. The next thing I need to do is build a ballista. So I'm going to actually take this and this. I'm going to duplicate those layers. The living ship is resolved, so we can stitch that shut. The next one we'll move on to is the nautiloid. Ba-dum-bum-bum. 20-minute kicker. Turrets. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Give them better looking weapons. That's all. Nice. Okay, these are working out. forward just a touch. Move those back a touch. Now you can have a commander sit here with 1, 2, 3 crew here, and then 2, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 crew total, plus the commander in the middle. The commander can contribute to the attacks made by siege weapons that they're adjacent to. So you could have 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can have a total of 7, and if it's you could have all 7 of those weapons fire, but then the commander would have to use actions to reload both of these if they can't hit the 7 or higher on the command die roll, which is unlikely at 5th level because it's only a D6. You don't get a D8 until 9th level. So to roll a 7, you have to have at least a D8, and on that D8, you have to roll a 7 or 8. Otherwise, you're going to have to spend attacks and reactions to reload the weapons individually, which is going to eat into your action economy. These things have a reload score of 1. So it's almost impossible to miss on them. You can't miss. You automatically reload them if they're only firing 1 weapon. But if you're firing 1, 2, 3 of them together, that's a 3. And that, say at level 1, you only have a D4. At level 5, you have a D6. At level 9, you have a D8. So if you're rolling 3 here, that's going to most likely require you to spend actions having the team reload as well. So yeah, it's about, or you could have individual characters on each one of these weapons, and then have a siege commander operating both of these weapons, and you would have a siege commander back here operating the gift cannon. So you got all that working for you. That's fun. So we can lock this one back down. Unlock, 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 unlock. There you go. So those are the ones that we need to build through. Go back to the damselfly. Back to the color. Go back to turrets. There's our damselfly. Let's see. Bar! Wrong button. Okay. How does it just sit so pretty on the deck? They just sit so pretty. Let's, no. Exit. Let's go with free transform equals flip vertical. And we just drop it into the space. Very nice. And then we can duplicate this layer and we push it forward into its space. Now, I believe a damselfly has a trebuchet on it. So let's pluck this out. And we'll go up to here. go with manganel. That's what we'll call it. On the black. So let's merge that down. Maybe I want to duplicate here. Yeah, there we go. Manganel. Perfect. Mounted. Manganel. Ballista. Cool. Mounted. Ballista. these groups. Bump, 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 bump. Bring them down to here. Turrets. There we go. Front nose. There he goes. Oh, wait, this is supposed to be back like this. So you get the mounted weapons in proper positions. If you transform, flip vertical, slide these guys over. Freaking perfect. Good distribution. 1, 2, 3. You can put more weapons on the ship, but it won't increase the amount of damage it does as a squadron. Nor does reducing the amount of weapons on the ship. It's very ubiquitous. That's not the right word. Ambiguous. So you could, at the ship level, add in like another 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 10 weapons if you wanted to, but as a part of a squadron, it wouldn't be able to contribute more than 3 dice worth of siege or mounted weapon damage per attack. But if you zoom into the single ship, if you're operating just as a ship with action economy going to each weapon, then you could have 7 or 8 weapons on the deck, and then choose how many of those weapons you wanted to attack. It would slow you down terribly to have to reload all of those weapons because you're going to fail the die roll. You won't be able to just automatically reload all those. It will eat up a crap load of economy to do it, but it can be done. But if you're splitting it amongst multiple characters, the actions, reactions, and bonus actions to do all of that, then you can fire off a full volley of all the weapons each round, no problem. It's just a matter of how much of your action economy is going to go to weapon systems as opposed to something else. So, and when you're in ship combat at 500 some odd feet away at each other, weapon systems is pretty much the only thing you're going to be doing anyway, other than buffing your pilot. So, cheers. So that is resolved. You know what? I think I can probably just duplicate this group. And take it to the next thing. So we can lock the flying fish. can now open up the hammerhead. Boom. Turrets. All right, so now we have the trebuchet to build. That'll be exciting. Let's go to turrets at the front end. Let's put mangonel at the back. Take your time, timer. Barf. I get the strange feeling this isn't fully symmetrical yet. That crop's a problem. Yeah, it fits. Okay, cool. So mounted weapons are good. There we go. Transform. We need to do that. I'm good with that. Trebuchet. Trying to create a unique look for this siege weapon compared to the mangonel and the ballista. So it's, I mean, it's bigger, so that itself is an indicator. But I want to have a different silhouette. Oh, that's interesting. Trebuchet. Very good. Duplicado. All right, so we got those resolved. Now let us resolve these. Flip vertical and bump bump there, and then we'll take these and then we will free transform. We will flip horizontal and slide all over into here. There. There. Duplicate and duplicate. Take these here. Well, free transform equals. Two. Good. And that brings us back to dope, which is where we started this endeavor. Two. Two. Technically, that's accurate. But it isn't necessary. We have the tree is the tree. The tree is the tree is tree. And bam, we're back to dough. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's break up this economy a little bit. Well, first off, let's get the... Cool. Turrets where they belong. That's good. Drop the opacity down on that guy. Let's grab 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. So let's grab Mangonel, Mounted, and Ballista. Let's make copies of those. Let's bring those down to the Nautiloid. Turrets. Mangonel. There we go. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 4. It's a 4x4, so it needs 4 siege and 4 mounted weapons. So Mangonel, that's in a good position. Let's go with the Ballista. So free transform equals flip vertical. Now, baby. You can drop the Ballista here. Let's make some more. Duplicate. Duplicate. Let's take them to here. Transform. Pop, 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 pop. Pop. Transform is going to be flip horizontal. No, perfect. Looks like frog eyes. That's so freaking great. How apropos. I love it. I love it. Now we can hide the turrets. We can actually just get rid of the turrets altogether. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4 weapons. You got 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces that it occupies. So you got your Mangonel up front. Back to the Ballista. You got the 2 flankers. And now we're going to drop in some mounted weapons. So total of 4. Nice. That's gonna work. Two. Two, 3. 1, 2, 3. 3. One, 2, 3, 4. Make it sidewise. 1, 2, 3, 4. There. Now it feels like a much more organized weapon system. Holy crap. What a gunship. So fun. It's time for more coffee. Hold on. I'll be right back. All right, let's keep at this. Hey, timely timer. What time is it? It's 10:50. So I'm officially on call. My gal typically catches up with me at around 11 o'clock. So I'm officially on notice that we will be shutting down stream at any time for me to go have a day with my gal. So let's just see what we get done in the meantime. There to there. Wow, that feels really cool. I love how this is. Oh god, I love this. I just love how this is panning out. So cool. Forgive me for geeking out on my own crap. I'm just a little excited about it. Night Spider. So this is a 4x4. So we're going to give it 2 mangonel, 2 mounted, and 2 and then 4 ballista. 2 ballista, 2 mangonel, and 4 mounted. So let's duplicate those, and then drop them down here. To the Night Spider. Let's see, we can go. Free transform equals flip vertical. Slide to here. Ballistas are good. We'll do mounted weapons last. Let's go free transform, flip vertical, very good. And we will go like 1, 2. Bless you. 1, 2. Free transform. 1. Yeah, let's do 1. Free transform. Free transform. 1. There. Now we need mounted weapons. Barf. Very nice. One, two, three. One, two, three. Hell yeah, man. Duplicate. Wow, this is just I am loving this decision, quite frankly. Holy crap, that's so cool. Oh, man. All right, let's work these mangonels just for a moment. 2. 1, 2. Just to even them out a bit. But holy crap, that just looks... It looks intentional. It looks intentional. And I don't think I could be any more proud than that. Fuck. So cool. Let's oops, we gotta there. That's this in its 4x4. This is also supposed to be sitting in a 4x4. Proper. Moving ship 2x2, A-OK. Lamprey 3x3, A-OK. Hammer ship 5x5, A-OK. Living ship 3x3, A-OK. Fly 2x2, A-OK. Bombard 3x3, A-OK. Cool, everybody's lining up. Scorpion. It's 2x2. let's get him some weapons. Let's go with, yeah, duplicate those. And we can just get rid of those. All right, I think this is probably going to be the last craft, the last ship that we do today. And I might just finish out the rest of these off screen. Not 100% on that yet. We can now transform, flip vertical. That's the right place for that. Holy crap. That just, I love how intuitively, like organically, all these things are falling right into position to where they're supposed to be. It just really makes me feel like this was something that I was supposed to do, you know? 3. Like when you start creating alternate mechanics and stuff, and you start changing, you know, how things look or how things are. 1, 2, 3. You question, you know, is it the right thing to do? You know, you're always questioning yourself. This is just, what a great affirmation that we are exactly where we're supposed to be, doing exactly what we're supposed to do. I fixed my fan, by the way, on my computer. It is literally silent now. It's been making hiccup sounds for over a year, like little worse sounds and stuff, but I fixed it, and now it's silent again since I got it from the factory. So I think, God's willing, I'm going to be able to keep that thing around for a while. Turrets. I'm going to call this color. Color. Yeah, it's 11 o'clock. This is a decent stopping point. So I'm going to go ahead and check out for now. I love this. I love these ships so much. They're so much fun. When we finally finish this thing, we get it printed. Something I can be doing on the side is just making more ships. So there's a lot of ships that were in Lost Ships and like Space Captains. I can't remember the name of the product, but there was a slew of different Spelljammer books back in 2E that had a crap ton of different types of ships. So we can do something similar to this with the rest of those as well as create unique deck plans. And there's a couple of different Patreons that do that type of stuff. I can too, but you know we use these unique 550-foot scales as well as the 5-foot scales. So I think we have a little bit something extra that we can offer to the table, and it's fun value add. So anyway, I'm gonna bail for now, guys. This has been immensely satisfying. So thanks a lot for being part of the journey. Like and subscribe, hit the bell. I'm here 6 days a week. I'm here 2 evenings out of the week, and I do 1 lunch shift. So I have a total of 9 different sessions of anywhere from an hour to 2-hour bursts each per week. And then the rest of my production time is offline. So I'm constantly putting out new content. The next time I'll be on stream again will be Monday morning, where we'll do more NPC tokens for the Light of Xeraxis adventure that goes along with these ships. And then Monday night, we'll continue working on the refugee village map for the Ebron adventure. Tuesday lunch, we'll be back to continue the Martial Powers project, converting the Beast Barbarian and Berserker Barbarian into the Martial Power system that we've developed for 5e. And so Monday through Friday, we'll continue doing NPC tokens in the morning. Monday and Thursday night, we'll do the Village Thorpe, the village map for the Ebron adventure. Tuesday lunch, the Martial Powers. And then Saturday next week, we will be working on probably finishing up these tokens. I might have the ships done. We'll work on fighter craft. That's what we'll do. I'll finish up these vessels on my own, and I'll show you the results. But then we'll be working on the craft specifically. These are the fighter craft that we developed for this product that are 50 foot. Again, just to say it again, each of these are 50-foot squares. This is a 75-foot long vessel, so it has 150 hit points. This is a fighter craft. This full square is 50 feet, so it fits inside of one of these little squares. So like 4 of these spiderling ships can overwhelm this scorpion. Like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's these 4 ships have the same basic mass as this 100-foot long or 75-foot scorpion ship sitting inside this 2x2 space. As a squadron, though, this thing has does 2 dice worth of siege damage. If you have 4 of these things, 1, 2, 3, 4, all sitting in that 4x4 space, they're each counted individually. So this would actually be a 4 spaces. So this would actually be doing 4 dice worth of siege damage, while this only does 2 dice worth of siege damage. So these 4 spiderlings are actually capable of very easily overwhelming this scorpion ship on its own. So the scorpion ship, these each have 80 hit points apiece, so they'd be 80, 80, 80, 80, that'd be a total of 320 hit points, while this only has 100 hit points, 50 per square that's in this space. So yeah, the scorpion ship can get outmatched. The saving grace is that this ship uses a major helm, while these ships use minor helms, so this thing can escape by upscaling the distance that it can move per round to basically light speed away from them. At top speed, this thing can move 100 times faster than these craft. The only problem is if these craft get inside of its air envelope and sit inside its gravity field, if it tries to speed up and run away, it's just going to carry those ships with it, which is a nightmare. It has to be able to disable, scuttle, knock them each asunder out of to be unaligned with its gravity plane for it to escape from them. So fighter craft are a big fucking problem for ships, which is what they were built to do. They were built to harass and tear apart larger ships because they're smaller, more maneuverable, and can hit really hard. Anyway, that's the physics. So we'll dive into this further and further as we get into when we finish the layouts for this book. That is when we'll have the opportunity to start filling, like most of these gaps that we see here are spaces for diagrams to show how these ships interact with each other, or how they compare and scale with each other, or how they move through space. So a lot of the of this illustration space is going to be left to grids and technical document to help visualize how these ships move. But in spaces that, in instances where it's like, say, an illustration that we would put here, we can start depicting how you can narrate these ships. So the technical grid bits will be the mechanical crunch of it, of how to use the system, and all the artwork, all the art spaces that we'll use will help you as a team, as a DM, and as players visualize the narration of how these ships are engaging with each other like living ships. So, I'm really excited, guys. So I will see you on the other side. I'm going to go ahead and cut stream here. And I hope you all have a fantastic day. I look forward to seeing you on Monday. Thanks a lot.